Today, I'll be talking about what 100 billion questions taught us about asking better ones. Will you marry me? What should we name her? Can I negotiate a lower salary? Does this dinosaur costume count as business casual? When I was thinking about what to talk about during CuriosityCon, as the CEO of SurveyMonkey, I naturally turned to a survey. I asked over 1,000 of our employees for their favorite question of all time. There were some heartwarming ones and some truly odd ones, like, on a scale of 1 to 5, how satisfied are you with the color of the earth? It's a 3. Those are always a 3. Some worrying ones, like, did you turn off the oven? But my favorite question was also the shortest. Why? It's simple. It cuts to the heart of everything, and it is so foundational as we grow. If you have a toddler out there, you can probably relate. You know that 3-year-old asking why? 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 It's endearing up to a point. Wait till they turn 13, and I can tell you I've got a teenager, and the question gets an exclamation point, and they demand to know why. Then the 33-year-old stops asking why and accepts things as they are. Asking questions is a core part of being human, but somewhere between the playground and the boardroom, the curiosity that fuels our question asking fades. We trade in exploration for execution, questioning for knowing. Why do we stop asking questions and accept things the way they are? What if that shift is exactly what's holding us back in innovation, in deepening relationships and more? What breakthroughs are we missing because we've stopped asking the basic and the truly transformative questions? The bridge between complacency and good questions is where the magic happens. That is where curiosity thrives and innovation takes root. And it is really important to ask good questions. You may have heard over the years there is no such thing as a stupid question. Teachers might have told you that. I'm here to tell you, they were lying to you. There are lots of stupid questions. But stupid questions aren't necessarily bad. They can provoke good ideas and good conversations. They can actually lead to great questions. What they really meant, and the danger is really in not asking stupid questions. The risk is asking bad questions. Because bad questions waste time. They derail progress and shut down creativity. They are built for bias. And bad questions can be really expensive. Let me give you an example of the cost of asking bad questions. You'll see on the screen a logo. I don't know if anyone knows what this logo is or who it belongs to. If you know, type in the chat. That, for a period of time not too long ago, was the logo for SurveyMonkey. You see, in 2021, SurveyMonkey felt that it had outgrown its name, like outgrowing your favorite pair of shoes. We felt we needed to grow up and have a brand that reflected the full spectrum of our solutions and the scale of our ambition. With those decisions in mind, the company launched an extensive research project to determine a new name and brand identity. We had our eyes on selling into the enterprise, and we knew that we were well known, but the power of our platform was taken for granted. We asked a lot of questions as we were identifying and selecting the name, but we built a serious bias into those questions to confirm what we knew, what we thought, and how they were framed. The net was that we landed upon a vaguely more enterprise-sounding name, Momentive, and it didn't work. When I took over as CEO, it was clear from our own brand tracker that people liked SurveyMonkey and didn't quite get Momentive. On top of the fact that we were spending gobs of money and time on the rebranding efforts. So in my very first act as CEO, I made a return to SurveyMonkey. Then we launched a new research effort with better questions, targeting the right audience. We asked our customers, what would make you love SurveyMonkey again? What our customers truly wanted were improvements in our core offerings. Essentially, they wanted a better alternative to clunky Microsoft Forms and bare-bones Google Forms. What's interesting is that we already offered more of these advanced features than people realized, from survey creation to analyzing responses. We just weren't making it obvious enough. We were focused on the wrong direction because we were asking bad questions. We shifted our focus back to our core mission, helping our customers ask great questions to get meaningful answers, and being very clear about that focus and that expertise. And that's what I intend to share with you today. As we've refined our focus, we've also dug through 25 years of data, billions of questions and answers to understand what makes a great question. You see, we just passed 100 billion questions asked on SurveyMonkey. That means we have an unprecedented amount of data that allows us to see what questions our customers are asking, what resonates, and what doesn't. And really, surveys are just about asking questions at scale. My push to all of you is to stay curious. Because being curious frames the art of asking questions. Good questions power critical feedback and help you make better decisions. Good questions become great prompts for AI. And in this age of generative AI, your output is only as good as your input. Let's start with C. Give context. People need context to understand what you're asking. Questions without context set people on the defensive. I don't know why, but we're all wired to hear the worst in any question. They will answer something entirely different than what you're looking for without the right level of context. Think about it. If you ask, how should we change the project from last year? You might think that's a pretty innocuous question, but in a meeting, I guarantee someone gets defensive. You spike the cortisol of most of the people in that room because, unfortunately, like I said, we are all wired to assume the worst. Here's a shortcut around that. Include something like, I asked this because, and it will help you frame the question differently. Consider how these two different approaches might be received. Instead of just asking, how should we change the project from last year? You add, I asked this because it was a great success and I want to build on those wins. Or, I asked this because I'm new to the project and I want to get up to speed. You give your audience context for the question, so they aren't left trying to guess your intentions and giving you an answer to a question that wasn't asked or intended, or assuming the worst and feeling like they need to defend themselves and that project. You. Make it understandable. This is about accessibility. No jargon, no compound sentences, no acronyms, unless you have all this time to explain the acronym. But you don't want your audience puzzling over what you're asking instead of spending their time crafting a thoughtful answer. If they don't understand your question, they're going to give you a useless answer. Keep it simple, use short sentences, and remember that cultural context is incredibly important. Establishing a research goal is critical. Simply, have a point. These are the 3 questions to ask yourself if you need to determine if you have a point. Whether you're asking yourself quickly in your mind as you head into a meeting or while writing out a questionnaire, keep these handy. Who will use this information? How will they use it? What are they collectively trying to achieve? Having a research goal will keep you on track so you can avoid being that person who lobs the Zoom question grenade at the very end of the meeting, sending everything into overtime. You can test your own thinking. What will everyone do with the answer to this question? Will it help further our goals? If not, maybe don't ask. But most often you'll find yourself editing what you ask and getting to the point faster. I is for staying inquisitive. Inquisitive could have been the acronym, but it was a little long and had too many I's. Curious and inquisitive work in parallel, almost as synonyms, but have important differences. Curious is about seeking knowledge, understanding why things are the way they are, and finding new ways of looking at things. Inquisitive is asking questions. I think being inquisitive is notably about asking that critical follow-up question. In person, we're listening and probing. In a survey, we use logic, and based on an answer, we direct relevant follow-up questions. Curiosity shapes that, and being inquisitive follows through. O is to be objective. Objectivity is crucial for gathering reliable and unbiased data. Biased questions can influence your audience to choose answers they think you want to hear, not how they genuinely think and feel. To be objective, frame your questions neutrally and consider focusing on asking about specific behaviors or actions, not beliefs. Here's two examples of asking a non-objective and objective question. It's easy to see which question would be easier to answer with facts, not emotions. It seems innocuous to ask, how well known is our brand? But it implies a level of awareness and familiarity instead of probing for facts and data. How many times have you seen our ad in the last month? Instead, you get two things. You get data and you get recall. The effectiveness of your marketing is measured much more accurately with the objective question. U is for keep it short. Well, under 25 questions. You can see the drop-off in responses as you ask too many questions. This obviously applies to surveys and forms, but the same premise applies in person too. The more you ask, the less people are willing to answer. And at some point, you go beyond inquisitive and into interrogation. The chart is pretty telling. The drop-off is basically a straight line going the wrong way as you ask more and more questions. We have found 25 to be a good target limit. No matter the forum, get to the point. Get the data you need and keep it snappy. S is for safe and secure. Trust matters. Ensure that your respondents feel safe answering your questions and, in an online context, that their data is secure. Whether it's answering a survey or sharing honest feedback with a peer, people need to feel safe and secure answering questions. They want to know their information is protected and won't be misused. Think about it. Would you open up if you didn't trust the person asking you a question? When giving peer feedback, do you adjust what you say when you know it isn't anonymous? The same principle applies to any tool we use to gather insights. That's why prioritizing data security and transparency isn't just good practice. It's essential for building trust with our users and getting honest, valuable responses. When we assure our customers that their data is safe with us, we're not just checking a box. We're creating a space where they feel comfortable sharing their opinions, experiences, and ideas. And that safety and security is the foundation for meaningful conversations and powerful insights. When we apply this curious framework to see the real world, we get exciting results. And it's really the favorite part of my job is looking at what our customers do with our product. Take a great example, the children's bike company C.U.R.I.O.U.S, started by two dads in a garage in Austria. The bikes are now available in 30 countries. Going from startup to scale up, they were having trouble staying connected to their newly global team and customer base. In the early days, it was easy to ask questions face-to-face when you were working from your garage with one coworker and local customers. But that doesn't scale. They needed a formal, unified way to get feedback. So they used SurveyMonkey for employee surveys to collect feedback across the entire employee lifecycle, while also using customer surveys to understand preferences and satisfaction. Critically, they deployed these surveys in the languages of their customers, making them understandable, and people felt safe and secure answering questions, the U and the S, in C.U.R.I.O.U.S. One unexpected insight. Employees wanted more personalized recognition from senior leadership. As a result, C.U.R.I.O.U.S set up card stations in its offices, and writing notes, physical notes, is now a daily habit for leaders and employees alike. This ladders up to R. Have a research goal. C.U.R.I.O.U.S wanted to improve employee experience and acted upon feedback creatively. They didn't just collect feedback and sit on it. At the start, we talked about how curiosity fades as we grow older. It turns out there's something even more powerful that doesn't have to fade. Caring. It might sound a bit touchy-feely in a world obsessed with data and disruption, but our research shows that the vast majority of people, 93%, actually think caring is cool. It's the people who genuinely care about their work, their customers, and their communities who ask the questions that matter. They're not just seeking answers, they're seeking understanding. That's the heart of being curious. It's about channeling our passion into asking the right questions, the ones that lead to real breakthroughs, meaningful connections, and lasting impact. At SurveyMonkey, we believe that caring isn't just a nice to have, it's the cornerstone of success in the era of asking. It's the fuel that drives innovation and the spark that ignites change. And it's you, the curious, caring individuals here for CuriosityCon, who have the power to embody that quality and make the world a better place, one question at a time.